Hello there. I hope you're well, and I appreciate you sticking around just to witness that awkward smile. I hope you are well this day. Ryan here, and I'd just like to share a little bit on what marriage ought to look like. Now, I'm not a married man, I'm actually single, so you have the delight of getting marriage advice from a single guy. How about that? I should have wore a shirt that's a flamingo shirt that says I'm single and ready to mingle. But anyhow, one thing I want to talk about is the importance of biblical marriage, and that's something that is very much suffering. Marriages are in danger today. And we live in a culture, especially here in America, where it's very divorce friendly. And understandably, there's a lot of issues in the relationships we see today. Lack of communication, effective communication, communications that's not rooted in love, and actions that aren't rooted in love either. Now, this is a precept coming from Paul the Apostle, who was also a single man, giving marriage exhortations to the people to the Ephesians. And this is a chapter I encourage reading, but I'm going to just take apart just a few verses to establish 4 principles, and that is biblical submission, biblical leadership, biblical love, and biblical respect. So in chapter 5, verse 21, it begins, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. So both must submit to one another. Okay, this isn't one having submission under the other. It's both, okay? Verse 22, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church. That's representing the leadership there. That's the hierarchy, if you will. Verse 25, husbands, love your wives even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. So when we talk about submission, this is not about submitting to someone who's abusive, okay? There are some church circles that get a little goofy with this, but God is not calling people to submit to an abusive relationship, whether it's verbal or physical. And that's why respect is important. We see that in verse 33. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence or respect her husband. So one thing that's important, and this applies to both need to have a mutual respect for each other, and the husband ought to be the leadership of the home. And this is an area that us guys tend to wrestle with. So I encourage men out there, be a leader in your home, representing the love of Christ that he has for you, and he demonstrated through the death, burial, and resurrection. And he loves you today.